Just because your house has insulation doesn't mean it's energy efficient. If you want to know more, stay tuned. We're at the Citrus House again, and we're with Craig Novak, who's a project manager of the Citrus House. And if you remember, the Citrus House is an Eichler. And Eichlers were famous in the 1950s for being cost-effective and beautiful houses that maybe weren't really intended to be around for 75 years. Now, originally these houses had no insulation. And during those 75 years, a lot of these houses have been remodeled. But they've been remodeled with the idea that insulation will function no matter how it's installed. Now, currently in California, we have a requirement for many of our projects called Quality of Insulation Installation, or QII. And it really looks at how well the insulation is used in houses. And I think next to me, we're going to actually find out that maybe these houses didn't have QII certification. We're going to have Craig tell us a little bit more about what we're seeing on these adjacent walls and how we could do better. So Craig, tell me a little bit about what's going on here, because it's kind of a mess.
It's a fine example of lack of insulation. We opened this wall and we found several voids. Material just was falling loose, not very thick. Some of these panels had nothing at all. So it would not perform. And then if you leave an adjacent bay open, energy is going to travel through there, just like you had a hole in your hose. It doesn't perform well or well at all. So frustrating enough, that's what we found. Over on this wall here, it wasn't so bad. Filled the cavities, satisfactory. It did the job. But again, some of it's thin and it's quite old as well. That's more the historical insulation. The first wall had a remodel in a kitchen that you could see the newer wires, but it was probably the crew that was hanging the sheetrock.
They're probably really tired when they were doing this.
And they were just in a hurry.
So to understand how fiberglass insulation works, fiberglass insulation stops what's called convective heat transfer. So what it means is that it stops airflow from going from a cold surface, which in the wintertime is the outside, to a warm surface, which in the wintertime is the inside face of the sheetrock. And that convection, or that current, goes from inside to outside. So the fiberglass forms essentially a network of little fibers that stop that airflow. Now, if we have an entire joist bay of insulation and we have a 1/4 inch gap anywhere in that joist bay, that allows enough air to move from the inside face, the cold face, to the outside face, the warm face, or vice versa, depending on the season. And basically it reduces the effectiveness of that insulation for that entire joist bay by 75%. We have quite a few 1/4 inch spaces in these joist bays, to the point where this insulation right here is completely ineffective. So we're gonna rip this out and we're gonna replace it in the right way. So similar to this. And the other thing, in what you mentioned, in some of these walls, and the walls behind right here, we see that they have wires coming across for outlets. And the wires are underneath or on top of the insulation. So it's kind of crammed all the insulation behind the wires.
Around it, yes.
So we know that the insulation only works if it fills the entire space. Like if you take 3.5 inches of insulation and crush it down to 1 inch, it only is effectively 1 inch of insulation.
True.
So what's the proper way to have installed this insulation here such that we're not essentially effectively taking away insulation that the clients have paid for, but is not working for them?
There should have been an additional layer, or they should have opened the insulation and wrapped it around.
So just cut the insulation and wrap it around the wire.
Encapsulate it, or add an additional layer on the backside of the wire. Then you just have that buildup that's nice and even across. And we can see where those wires are. There's some black lines where, like you were speaking about earlier, is air movement. And when you have a black line on where there had been siding, there's a leak through the siding following a trail of air, and that's air coming into the building and bringing dust, and hence the lines on the insulation.
So not only was this insulation not insulating, but it was collecting dirt from outside the house that was running through the walls because they didn't think about air insulation or air infiltration. And so it's just collecting the dirt. So essentially that's the cigarette butt, the filter on a cigarette, and your house is the cigarette.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy. So, I think it's important to make sure that we let viewers know that it's not the insulation itself, that's the bad material. It's how the insulation is used and how it's installed.
Yeah, application is key. And if there's compression in the material, you're not going to get the benefits.
And so I've seen good fiberglass insulation installations, but it's really hard. It takes somebody that's really paying attention to do it right. And most of these guys that are doing this, it's not a fun job, honestly, to put in insulation. And you're kind of constantly surrounded by fiberglass particles or even rock wool particles. And so it's not great. And they're just trying to get their job done and get as much as they can in at a time. And as generals, we really have to go in and quality control it. To go in and say, this isn't acceptable, there's gaps here, you have to fill this in. And, if we don't, we get one chance at doing this right.
Well, we do it, and a lot of jobs with a QII expert coming behind us.
Right.
We benefit from their expertise as well. Sometimes our air sealing is good. We believe the insulation's all in the correct spots, but they might point out something that we're missing. So
Right.
It's just another layer of eyes on the work.
And it's not just fiberglass that we have problems with. We have problems with every insulation that we install.
Absolutely.
At the Bay Street house, we're going to talk in future videos about the installation there, and that was dense packed cellulose. And it was too dense in areas and not dense at all in other areas. And we literally had to go around and move it around so that it was a uniform density throughout the entire joist base. So it's not just fiberglass and spray foam. We've talked a lot about spray foam, how, if spray foam isn't installed exactly perfectly, it pulls in and basically lets air through.
Gives you that quarter-inch gap, and then it's not worth
And then you're paying more for spray foam insulation, and yet it's not performing as it should.
Yep.
So it's really about hiring the guys that know, or women, that know how to do the job, that are being careful about the details, and then quality controlling it. If you're interested in learning more about the quality of installation, or about building better homes, hit subscribe as we show you how to build a better way.